The historic nor'easter is finally wrapping up, and the verified totals are staggering. 2 to 3 feet of snow fell across much of the I-95 corridor over the past 48 hours. Central New Jersey saw some 3-foot totals. Long Island measured 2 feet, including areas around New York City at 20 inches. Hartford hit double digits. Providence and much of Rhode Island are well over 2 feet. Boston is deep into the double-digit range. Plow crews are working through the night across the Northeast to clear the massive snowpack off roads, sidewalks, and overpasses before the morning commute. But the pattern doesn't care about the cleanup schedule. A clipper system pushes through the Great Lakes today and delivers another couple of inches across the Northeast by Wednesday morning. A winter storm targets the Midwest Wednesday night into Thursday with a transition zone of ice and sleet, plus a line of thunderstorms across the Southeast. And the Pacific Northwest is getting hammered by an atmospheric river with a slight risk for excessive rainfall and mudslide potential in Northern California. Meanwhile, record highs hit the Front Range and the Texas Panhandle tomorrow with mid-90s possible in southern Texas by Wednesday. This is your Tuesday forecast for February the 24th, 2026. By the way, if you'd like specific weather forecasts for your region or city, please leave them in the comments. I'll answer them individually as time allows. Also, if you like the video and subscribe to my channel, you'd be very grateful. Now let's move on. Let me start with the blizzard aftermath because the cleanup is going to take days. Snow is still falling lightly across the Portland, Augusta, and Caribou areas of Maine this evening. Down east Maine is the last to see the snow taper, probably around midnight. Winds remain strong along the Maine coastline, blowing and drifting the snow and keeping visibility restricted. Travel in Maine is still dangerous right now. Once the winds relax after midnight, plow crews can finally get ahead of it. The rest of the Northeast is in full cleanup mode. New York City, New Jersey, Long Island, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, and the Philadelphia Metro all have massive amounts of snow to move. Dover, Delaware is buried. The entire state of New Jersey was under a blizzard warning, and the totals justified it. The plow crews are out, but with 2 to 3 feet on the ground across much of the region, it's going to be a slow process getting everything cleared and traffic flowing again. Now the next system, because it's already arriving. A clipper is pushing through the Great Lakes today. Michigan sees snow this afternoon and evening. By Wednesday morning, that snow reaches the Northeast, adding another couple of inches from New York City through Hartford, Boston, and up into Concord, New Hampshire. This is insult to injury. People are trying to dig out from one of the biggest snowstorms in years, and another 2 to 3 inches falls on top. Here's the clipper, city by city. Detroit sees snow this afternoon. Grand Rapids and the western Michigan lakeshore see accumulation. The Upper Peninsula continues adding. Chicago sees a dusting to light accumulation. Milwaukee gets a couple of inches. Green Bay sees more. By Wednesday morning, the snow reaches the I-95 corridor. New York City sees a couple of inches on the morning commute. Hartford sees 2 to 3 inches. Boston sees a couple of inches. Providence adds to its already record-breaking totals. Portland, Maine sees more snow. Albany and Syracuse see accumulation. Buffalo and Rochester see lake-enhanced snow. But the more significant system for the Midwest is Wednesday night into Thursday. A winter storm develops and tracks from Chicago through Indianapolis, Fort Wayne, and into Ohio. Toledo, Dayton, and Detroit are in the snow zone, but there's a transition zone that we need to watch carefully. As the precipitation extends southward and eastward, a mix of ice, sleet, and freezing rain is possible across the Ohio Valley and potentially into the mid-Atlantic. With the massive snowpack already on the ground across the Northeast, ice on top of snow is the worst-case scenario. Power outages, impossible travel, and dangerous conditions would compound an already difficult situation. Here's the Midwest winter storm city by city. Chicago sees accumulating snow Wednesday night into Thursday morning. Indianapolis sees several inches. Fort Wayne is in the heavier zone. Toledo and Dayton see significant snow. Detroit gets hit again, the second snow event in 3 days. Milwaukee adds more to already significant seasonal totals. Rockford sees accumulation. Madison sees snow. Grand Rapids and Kalamazoo see accumulation enhanced by lake moisture. The transition zone where snow changes to ice and sleet runs roughly across southern Ohio, central Pennsylvania, the mid-Atlantic, and potentially the I-95 corridor. Columbus is in the transition zone. Pittsburgh sees a rain-snow-ice mix. If the ice scenario verifies for the Northeast, it would be far more impactful than the snow amounts alone suggest. A glaze of ice on top of a 2 to 3 foot snowpack across the I-95 corridor from Philadelphia through New York City and into New England would be a nightmare for power infrastructure, roof loading, and travel. Even a tenth of an inch of ice on top of compacted snow makes roads treacherous in ways that plow crews can't easily address. This is the scenario to watch most carefully through the end of the week. South of the ice line, a line of thunderstorms develops Thursday afternoon across the southeast. Some could be strong. Chattanooga, Huntsville, Florence in Alabama, and Atlanta are in the zone for gusty winds and heavy rain. This is the first real severe weather signal we've seen in weeks as the subtropical jet begins to wake up. The Pacific Northwest is dealing with its own significant event. An atmospheric river is funneling heavy moisture into the coast. Portland, Eugene, Medford, and northwest coastal California see heavy rainfall, potentially 6 inches or more through tomorrow. A slight risk for excessive rainfall is in effect, and mudslide potential is increasing in Northern California, where the ground is saturating. If you live near a creek, stream, river, or low-lying area in the Pacific Northwest or Northern California, be mindful of rising water. The Cascades are getting feet of additional mountain snow, especially favoring Washington state. The Rockies across western Wyoming, Idaho, and western Montana continue accumulating. The Canadian Rockies in British Columbia and Alberta see heavy mountain snow. The temperature picture this week is split personality. The east is locked in cold behind the blizzard with below-average temperatures persisting. But the west and southern plains are warming dramatically. Kansas City goes from the 20s and 30s today to the mid-60s tomorrow. That's winter to spring in 24 hours. The Front Range of the Rockies and eastern Colorado see record highs tomorrow. The Amarillo area and the Texas Panhandle push into the 70s and 80s. By Wednesday, southern Texas, from south of San Antonio and Austin down to Brownsville along the Mexican border, hits the mid-90s. That's late June heat in February. Here's the temperature city by city through the week. Minneapolis stays cold. Chicago remains chilly near term. Detroit and Cleveland are cold. The Northeast from Boston through New York City and Philadelphia stays locked in winter, with the snowpack reinforcing the cold. Nashville and Louisville see moderate temperatures between systems. Atlanta warms by midweek. Dallas-Fort Worth pushes into the 70s and 80s by midweek. Houston and San Antonio are warm. Oklahoma City warms dramatically. Omaha goes from the 20s to the 60s. Denver sees record-challenging warmth. The contrast between the Arctic Northeast and the spring-like plains is extreme. Looking into early March, the upper Midwest, Great Lakes, Northeast, and the Canadian provinces are cold through at least the first week. Wind chills well below zero are expected across Canada with frostbite potential. At least one more stretch of Arctic air pushes into the northern U.S. Snow continues through March for the Northeast and upper Midwest, and some of those storms could still be on the heavier side. But the bigger March story is developing across the Mississippi Valley. The forecast we've been making all month is coming together. Colder air from the north meeting warmer, drought-enhanced air from the south creates a battleground from Texas to Michigan and everywhere in between. The first week of March comes in with heavy moisture across the southern plains into the southern Great Lakes, the Ozarks, and the Ohio Valley. Above normal precipitation is expected from the Mississippi Valley through the Ohio Valley. The Pacific Northwest stays wet, but California and Florida remain dry, and the drought across Florida is worsening with fires already breaking out. The Southern Plains drought continues, and the fire weather risk isn't going away. March isn't going to be quiet. The transition from La Niña to ENSO-neutral conditions, combined with frequent cold fronts clashing with the warmth, is setting up an open, severe weather season by the second half of the month. The Mississippi Valley, Ohio Valley, and Deep South are ground zero. Houston, New Orleans, Jackson, Birmingham, Nashville, Memphis, Little Rock, St. Louis, Indianapolis, and Cincinnati are all in the crosshairs for an active severe weather pattern. The snow map through April 1st shows continued heavy mountain snow across the West. Skiers and snowboarders across the Cascades, Sierra Nevada, and Rockies are in for an excellent finish to the season. The upper Midwest and Northeast continue seeing bouts of snowfall, and some of those storms could still be heavy. The further south you go, snowfall tapers off and transitions to the open, severe weather pattern. But winter isn't done for the northern tier by any stretch. March is a transition month, and this year the transition is going to be violent. Here's one more remarkable fact about this winter. All 50 states, including Hawaii, have seen snow this season. The last time that happened before this year was back in 2014-2015. This has been a historically memorable winter across the United States, and the blizzard that just dropped 2 to 3 feet on the I-95 corridor is the exclamation point. But we've still got weeks of winter weather ahead for the north, an escalating severe weather season for the south, and drought and fire concerns for the middle of the country in Florida. The pattern is anything but boring. See you in the next one.